Hi everyone and welcome to STA3215. This is the CBE version. So in this live lecture, we're going to go ahead and introduce the course. We're going to talk about the course layout, and we're going to get you a little bit more comfortable with the course, the content, and kind of what you should know. So some of you I've been chatting with have taken a CBE course. A lot of you, stats is the new part. So that's pretty awesome, but I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page if you haven't taken a CBE course before. So we're going to get that all sorted out. So to start, I am Alicia Langdon. I will be your instructional faculty, and that's a little bit different as well than your regular classes that you may have taken. I'm not going to grade you. We have assessment faculty who do that. So I'm in communication with the assessment faculty at all times, so we have the same expectations. They know exactly what I'm telling you. I know exactly what they're telling you. I can see their feedback. So it's a constant flow. If you have any questions or concerns, just reach out to me though. So I'm the person you'll talk to though. Okay. I'm also the person that will be doing all your live lectures. So. Okay, what are competency courses? So if you've never taken a competency course before, it's a little different than like the 11-week structured, one assignment per week type of idea. So competency-based education, which is what CBE stands for, is a different approach to teaching where you are concentrating on understanding the material rather than being pressured by a time frame. So you can actually take this at your own pace. So if 1 week, maybe you're struggling with some concepts and you can't get it in those 7 days, maybe you need to take 2 weeks, take a break, rewatch, spend some more time. You're allowed to do that in CBE. So that can be kind of a benefit. So the normal credit hour is what you're used to, where you come in every week, you have an assignment that's due on Sunday, turn it in, you have your discussion boards on Tuesday and Saturday. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to be switching over where you have an assignment per module, but it's not a weekly basis. And I'll talk about how you can structure your time in a little bit, okay? So time is variable. But learning is constant in CBE. So we're going to be constantly learning. So what does that mean for you? Because that's really what you care about, right? So there's no weekly due dates. So I'm not going to be sitting there like, you have to get your first assignment in on Sunday. Is it a great idea to set up these scheduling ideas for you? Yes, it is. But I'm not going to require you get it in by Sunday. Okay, just a suggestion. You just have to make sure everything is submitted by December 22nd. Now, I know that time is pretty crazy, so you may want to try to get it in before. It's actually very possible to get done within like 6 weeks. You could technically get done faster than that, but for normal people, it's about 6 weeks to finish the course. But you do have 12 complete weeks to do it. Okay, so caution though, when I say you have 12 weeks to do it, be careful because you do have to log in at least every 14 days to register attendance. So you know when you get those calls from Rasmussen that's like, you have not logged into your class and you need to do that. That's what I'm referring to. And you can log attendance by watching a live lecture, doing one of the practice quizzes in the modules, anything like that. Turning in an assignment will register attendance. So make sure you're logging in at least every 2 weeks to register that attendance. So you can spend more time on the material you need. We talked about that earlier. There is one caution that I saw a lot. This is actually my second time teaching this class. I've taught stats outside of it before. But one thing that I noticed last quarter that I taught it was that procrastination is so easy for us to get into as adults. It's very, very hard for me to go, oh, I don't have to do that, get that done until December. Well, I don't have to worry about that right now because we're very busy as adults. I fall into this trap too, right? Procrastination is a real thing as an adult. It's terrible. But make sure you're setting up a schedule for yourself. Sit down and ask yourself, when should I try to get each module done? Should I maybe set up a time that works for me? Think about that. As we go through this week, you'll kind of see more how it's laid out and what you'll need to do each week, what type of time commitment you'll need. So just keep that in mind. And I just thought this was funny. Procrastination is like a credit card. It's a lot of fun until you get the bill. No, okay, great. Thanks. I have really bad jokes like that throughout this quarter, so I'm sorry in advance. So what are we going to discuss? So I did talk to a couple of you that have said you've never taken stats before. So a lot of these concepts are going to be completely unfamiliar to you, and that is perfectly fine. I will talk about each one of these ideas and we will go through it each week. So we're going to start with talking about the basics of statistics this week. Then we're going to move on to the normal probability distribution, and that might be a little familiar. You've probably seen like the bell-shaped curve before. Maybe you haven't realized it, but when we get into it, maybe you will. Confidence intervals, we'll talk about hypothesis testing using one sample, hypothesis test and confidence intervals using 2 samples, and then we'll finish up by talking about correlation and regression. Now, if you aren't familiar with any of these, that's perfectly fine. Take it one module at a time. So let's talk about how you're graded, because CBE is a little bit different than a normal class. So I did this little pie chart because, hey, it's a math class, right? Got to get those pie charts in there. Plus, it's fun to look at. So what you'll see is the live classrooms are about 6% of your grade. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold 3 live classrooms every week, but you are not required to watch all 3. You have to watch at least 1 from each module, and I will tell you what each live lecture, which module it covers, before you watch that. And I'll show you when we get into the class how to log attendance for live classrooms, okay? And that's just 1% per live lecture that you have. Now, the deliverables, you'll have 6 deliverables, 1 from each module. So deliverable 1 is over module 1, deliverable 2 is over module 2, and so on. You can see that each deliverable is worth 11%. And then you'll have a final deliverable. So it's kind of like your final. It's a comprehensive deliverable, deliverable 7, and it's going to be worth 28% of your class. And this is actually the same grading system in any of your CBE classes. I did see some people were taking more than 1, so this might be pretty familiar to you. So it's the same in any CBE class you join. Okay. So let's get into a little bit more detail about the deliverables. I told you each module has 1 deliverable. And remember, these aren't due on Sunday, but if you want to have that time constraint, I encourage it, but it's not required. I do have to be the bearer of bad news, and we do have to talk about something serious for a moment. And that is, if you fail a deliverable, you do fail the course. So if there's 1 week that you do horrible on, unfortunately that means the whole entire class is a fail. Okay, but don't freak out yet. Okay, I know that's a very big stressor when you hear that. The good news is that you need at least a 2 to pass the deliverable, and you get 2 chances on each deliverable. So it's not like a 1, you failed, I'm done. Basically, if you fail, if you turn in your assignment and you fail, they'll give you feedback. You're going to take that feedback, maybe go back, watch the live lecture again, redo the assignment, maybe reach out to me to get some extra help and make sure that you are understanding it correctly, and then you're going to submit it again. And then hopefully the second time around you pass. Now, deliverables are graded a little different than your normal classes. You're not going to get percentages. You're going to get a number between 1 and 4. 1 basically means you fail, F. 2 means you got a C. 3 is a B, which is like you did really good. 4 is like you did amazing, everything looks perfect, there's nothing more that you could have added, okay? So that's an A. So keep that in mind as you're going through this. I'm sure most of you are going to be aiming for that A, that 4, that score of a 4, but just know if you get a 2 or higher, you do pass. Another cool thing about the 2 chances, though, is let's say you do get a 2 on your first submission and you go, I'm not happy with that. I want to make sure I aim for that 4. You can go back and redo the assignment. Even if you've already passed it, you can still redo it, add in any of that feedback they had for you, and then resubmit it and hopefully either get it up to the 3 or the 4. So kind of cool benefits. You can improve and learn from your mistakes, which is always the beautiful thing about learning. Okay. Just as a warning, if you submit a deliverable and any questions are blank, so you're like, I don't know the answer to number 3 on my assignment, and you leave it blank, it's an automatic fail. It's an automatic 1. You have to answer all questions and you have to get it in kind of the ballpark. So they're looking at it as an overall grade. So if you do have any questions on a problem that you're really struggling with, remember you can reach out to me or tutoring, and we'll go through options a little bit later. But I just want to tell you that so that you're not submitting any assignments which have blatant questions, okay? So please try to stay away from that. So just make sure you're reaching out if you are confused. And I know right now you're probably like, I'm going to be reaching out to you a lot. And that's fine. I'm used to it. That's my job in this class, is to be there for you if you have any questions. If you need more instant help, remember there's always tutoring online as well. So let's talk about the grading scale. We talked about grading the deliverables, 1, 2, 3, 4. The grading scale overall is a little bit strange. Okay, you're going to look at this and you're going to be like, how does that work out? Just trust me on this, okay? You're going to have to go with a little faith. So the grading scale in this course, and any CBE course, they're all the same. If you get an A, you actually get a score. If you get, okay, so let me rephrase that. If in your grade book at the end you get a score between 94 and 100%, you'll get an A. So that is a little bit of higher standards to get an A. You have to get a 94 or higher. But a B, there's actually a bigger range. So you'll get a B if you get any score between 70 and 93 overall in your grade book. And then a C is anywhere from a 47 to a 69, and then an F is 0 to 46. So you may be saying, oh, that makes me feel a little bit better because if I get like a 48%, I still pass with a C. Yay, maybe? Okay, I'm trying to give hope here. Okay. One note though, you will automatically fail if you do not submit all deliverables. So even if you got like a 48%, but you forgot one of the deliverables or you didn't turn it in, that will cause you to automatically fail. So basically, you have to submit all assignments and you have to get at least a 47% overall in the class to pass. Yay! Hopefully, maybe? Okay. Hopefully it didn't freak you out too much. Just take it in stride. We'll get through it. I just want to be upfront so you know exactly how I'm grading you. Well, I'm not grading you, but how the assessment faculty is grading you, and how your score will translate into A, B, C, and F. Notice there's no D here. We don't do D's in this class. A little different too, right? Okay, so let's talk about our resources. Because, as I said before, for many of you, stats is completely new. So we want to talk about what options we have and how we're going to be successful, because we don't want to fail that second time around. So each module is going to have information. It's going to have some text. It's going to have some video. It's going to have some interactive content, so some quizzes that you can take and get feedback. Keep in mind those quizzes are not graded. They're just optional quizzes. And then a little link to book chapters, which you can read through as well, which is very helpful once you get that basic understanding. It can be a little difficult to read. Just keep that in mind as you're going through it. I'm also going to be going ahead and giving live lectures each week. Talked about that before. And everything that I discuss in the live lectures will help you to do the deliverables. So I concentrate on the material to help you understand the questions presented. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, for Rasmussen Tutoring, if you haven't used it before, don't be afraid to reach out, ask questions. Of course, you can email me on the course homepage. I also have my phone number, and you can message me through the course if you'd like. I already had somebody do that today, which is great. I'm happy to answer those questions. Whatever works for you. My phone number you can call or you can text me. Either one works just fine. I know a lot of people are more comfortable with texting nowadays. I'm actually more comfortable with it, surprisingly, but that's just kind of how it is. Another great resource, if you have never checked out Khan Academy, excellent resource for statistics and probability. They have videos, they have interactive content, all that fun jazz. And then, of course, YouTube is awesome. I did miss, okay, StatTrek is really good as well. Woohoo! So, quick note that I wanted to add, I did post this in the main announcements, but to access the deliverables, you have to do the learning plan first. So if you haven't done the learning plan first, your modules won't open up. Just keep in mind that the learning plan is ungraded and does not affect your class score. It's not graded. So just do your best to go through it, but understand that I'm not really going to be grading it. I may look at it later. Just as a reference. So keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and look through the class. We're going to talk about some things, kind of walk through it together so you know where to find everything. And then I'll open it up to any questions you have. So let me pull up the class. So what you'll see when you walked in, if you looked at this earlier this morning, like 5 a.m. I did change this a little bit, so it's going to look a little different, but this will be the way that it's going to stay, just heads up. So on the left, you'll see my name, you'll see my phone numbers there, and remember you can call or text using that. Also, my email is here, as is you can mail me in the course as well. And the course mail is down here. It says my mail, and then you can just compose a message if you want to do it through there. Also our WebEx room, so where all the live lectures are going to be held, is right there as well. So everything you need about me and questions. The other thing that's going to be really important is the course announcements to the left. So you'll see the course announcements. I have posted the live lecture information in week 1 times. If you click on that, that gives you a little bit more detail, but it's pretty much the same thing you see here on the home page. But I'll update that every single week so you'll know exactly when the live lectures are going to be and what works for you. I do go week by week basis just because the demand changes, but know that it'll be 3 live lectures. And then I do have the live lecture notes. If you haven't checked this out yet, I strongly encourage you to look through it, because if you were taking notes feverishly today, I actually have the PowerPoint right here. So did anybody download this yet? I'm just curious. So you can download the PowerPoint and you have all the information, everything you need to know. Yay! Awesome, Denise. Cool. Awesome, Lori. So introduction PowerPoint, go ahead and you can download it. You can write on it, whatever you need to do. I also, every single week, I'm going to be giving you guys notes. Perfect, Veronica. I'm going to be giving you guys notes that go along with the live lectures. And this week's for Module 1, you'll see the Module 1 notes. It's a Word document, and Module 1 practice problems. So if you click on this, what's going to load up is the notes. And I just wanted to show you this real quick because it's really handy. Instead of like trying to feverishly write down all the PowerPoint, you can just download these notes. So you can see here it says Module 1 Part 1. There are two parts for this Module 1. You'll see there's some blanks which you'll fill in. It'll talk about some practice problems in here that you can quickly answer, maybe add more detail. So this is a great resource for you. I'm also going to be doing some practice problems, so download that Excel document so you can follow along and do the problems with me, so you know that you're doing them correctly. And then underneath is some extra help. It's a symbols guide. So as you're going through the assignments, you have to use certain symbols. And I know it's really difficult if you're uncomfortable with Word or you haven't used the Microsoft symbols at all. But you'll have to use these symbols. So if you download this Word document, you can actually just copy and paste the symbols. So you'll see here, so like X bar is going to be super important. So a little X bar. You can just copy and paste it into your Word document that you're working on. P hat. Don't worry, you won't know what these are now, most likely. Okay. So P, Y hat, okay. We'll be using these symbols, so it's just a great resource. And that was all in the live lecture notes in the course announcements, which is right over here on the left-hand side of the screen. And I'll be updating the course announcements every single week, so make sure you check those out. I try to post on Sunday. But if you're unsure or you're like, hey, Alicia, have you updated the notes? Check that out first, or feel free to write on the course wall as well. Okay, so underneath that you have the calendar. It's going to have this week's live lecture times. It also has, oh, it's going to do this to me. It has the last day of class, which is December 22nd on there. Deadline, it's just a countdown clock. You have 81 days. Yay! That seems like forever, but when that starts getting down to about 12 days left, that's when people start to freak out. Okay, so just letting you know. Okay, so underneath my news and live lecture times, which I'll update this one as well every week so that you know exactly what's going on that week, where you should be at, all that fun jazz with the live lecture times as well. Notice the next live lecture is on tomorrow, Tuesday, at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and that it will be over Module 1, Part 1. And then Module 1, Part 2 will be on Thursday at 1. Keep in mind, if you can't attend live, I will be recording these. I'm actually recording this one right now, and you can always watch it later. It's nice to come live if you can, though, to ask those questions as we're going through the material. And here's my WebEx room as well. Okay, so remember what I said, the learning plan, you'll have to submit that, and then what will happen is your modules will open up underneath. Underneath the learning plan, you have your live classroom. This is where you're going to receive credit for watching those live classrooms. So every week after you watch a live classroom, so on Tuesday after you watch that Module 1 live classroom, you're going to click on this link, Module 1 live classroom, and you're going to say start quiz now, okay? Not preview quiz, because I'm the instructor, so it reads things differently for me. But basically, you're going to just be like, yes, I watched the Online Plus live classroom. This is a trust thing between you and I. Please don't break my trust, okay? So after you watch that live classroom, just hit yes. You only have to watch one of them each week. Just after attending the live classroom, what big questions do you have? And the nice thing is I can use these answers to help with any questions you may have. So keep that in mind as well. And then how do you think the competency may connect to others in the course? Type it up, finish attempt, it'll submit, and you are good to go for that first live classroom. Okay, and you'll get the points for that one. Is anybody else having issues with the sound? Just want to make sure. No? Okay. It may just be... Okay. Vanessa, it may just be you need to reconnect. Sometimes if you log out and log back in, that helps as well. So that's in the live classroom. So you'll do that each week for each live classroom. I do one module per week, and that's just because usually students struggle to go faster than that. If we need to reassess that, please let me know and reach out and we can talk about it. Now your deliverables are going to be found, deliverables are what you're graded on, in the course projects. So you're going to click on the course project and scroll down and you'll see the 7 deliverables. Remember 1 through 6 come from each module. So deliverable 1 is module 1, deliverable 2 is module 2, so on. And deliverable 7 is cumulative. Now let's click on deliverable 1 just to explore it. So you're going to have basically a scenario. They're going to give you a spreadsheet. It's an Excel spreadsheet. You're going to click that, download that. I'll have that. And then they're going to talk a little bit more, and then they're going to have a worksheet. Now, you're going to have to download both of these items, and then you will have to write on the Word document. So explain yourself, give the answer, and then your Excel sheet is going to be used to show your work. And in the live lectures, I'll talk about how to show your work as well. So here's your Excel sheet. Boom, looks beautiful. It's a bunch of information. You'll be using this information to answer questions in your Word document. So you can see here there's 1, 2, 3, 4 questions, and you'll have to answer each of the questions in these little boxes. Just make sure you're answering them completely and you're not missing anything, because remember, if you miss something, it's an automatic fail, and we don't want that, okay? So make sure you're answering all questions and then showing your work in your Excel document. And as we go through live lecture part 1 tomorrow on Tuesday, I'll show you how, no, sorry, not tomorrow. I won't be using the Excel document. It'll be Thursday. I'll be using the Excel document. Okay, so that's your deliverables. You'll submit it, and then there'll be like a little submit button, and there'll be a save as a draft button. Make sure you hit the submit button, okay? So that is your deliverables, and then you can see each module has information. So here's module 1. It has your introduction, so it's usually a video that introduces the topic, talks about it a little bit. There's a test your knowledge. This is ungraded. This does not affect your score at all. It's just completely optional. Try it out. See if you learn anything from it. If not, maybe you skip that next time. You know, use what works for you. Video instruction, there's some different content that you can access and go through. And then, of course, your book chapters down here. So remember, all of these are optional. It's just extra resources for you. The things that you have to do is you have to do those deliverables found in your course project, and you have to do the live classroom each week. And obviously you have to do the learning plan to unlock it all. So, okay, so that is all I think you need to know. Oh, I do have the extra resources right down here as well. So there's a CBE student guide, Khan Academy statistics, and StatTrek if you want to use those resources as well. Were there any questions on anything I went over? I went through a lot right now. Anything that you'd like me to clarify? No? Awesome. Okay, great question. So Lori said, will there be three different live classrooms with different agendas each week? Or is this just the first week? So the first week, we obviously have course navigation, and then Module 1, Part 1 will be on Tuesday. Module 1, Part 2 will be on Thursday. Next week is going to switch. I will have 3 live lectures. It will be Module 2, Part 1, Module 2, Part 2, and then I'm going to have open office hours for the third one. And in open office hours, what you can do is you can just come into a WebEx room. You can either share your screen or I can share my screen, whichever works for you. And we can actually go through the problems you're struggling with and talk it out and try to figure out what's going on or what you're struggling with. And then that will be the normal for weeks 1 through 6. It may change. It really depends on the week and what's going on work-wise. Because unfortunately, every week, sometimes meetings pop up and stuff, so I have to like move things around. But generally speaking, I'll try to do Mondays at 5:30. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with Tuesday at 5:30 and then Thursday at 1. I guess it just depends on what's going on. If anything, know that I'm always available via email, or you can call me. Even though I'm not having office hours, you can always call me and try to make an appointment. That way, we can always make appointments as well, if that helps. Vanessa, I'm actually recording this right now, and then once I'm done, I'm going to upload it to YouTube, and then I'm going to post it in the classroom, and then you'll be able to watch what you missed, just so that we're not going over it again. Yeah. Great questions. Anything else that you guys can think of for right now? Hopefully I will see you all tomorrow for the first live lecture. Make sure you print those notes over here in the course announcements. Get ready and prepped to go. It may be a good idea to read through some of that material. Sometimes that can help get a jump start. Sometimes that does not help. Just depends on the person, I guess. Okay, great. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you everyone for coming. I'm super happy to have you here. If any questions do pop up afterwards, feel free to reach out and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Have a great rest of the night. Bye everyone.